No matter your perfection when it comes to nutrition, no matter your depth of knowledge when it comes to light, um, we all end up with life struggles, emotional, mental, psychological, loss, grief, all of these things. And I want to make sure that you know that I'm not the kind of person to say that everything that I help walk you through and expose you to and teach you about is the only thing that you ever need to do to have all the answers in your life. You will, you may need to talk to a life coach, a therapist. You may need to do somatic work, breath work, whatever it is, depending on your situation. Every single individual needs individual things. What I'm going to talk about today is that your light environment, your EMF environment, your world, your environmental habits can have an impact on emotional regulation and going through loss, um, psychological stresses, maybe something like divorce, breakups, all of these things. We all say that I feel better in the sun. That's like a general thing. Oh, yeah, the sun makes me happy. I mean, there are songs written to dedicate to that fact, and it's a generally accepted thing. Well, we don't think about how that's really affecting us biologically. And I want to share my experience as someone who's struggling with grief and loss and going through the holiday season, being that Christmas and New Year's is coming up. Um, I want to look at the environment aspect and winter. Everyone is talking about winter in this circadian space as being the time for darkness and restoration. But when you have a specific struggle, emotionally, psychologically, mentally, life is lifing the kick ass out of you, then you're going to struggle with darkness. Why you're struggling with darkness has more to do with what you did prior to the winter than the winter itself, and what you are avoiding in the winter. And I'm looking at you guys bundling up with your hats and gloves. When I went to El Salvador, and I was there for several weeks. The sun had a legitimate psychological impact on my mood, on my calmness, on my ability to deal with processing loss, letting go. It literally lent me happiness. And this is a physiological effect, right? You're going out in strong sun near the equator that contains UVB light. Your endorphins are being hit, your endogenous opioid receptors are being satisfied. And I'm almost getting a hit of opioids, right? The same reason why pharmaceutical opioids like codeine, morphine, um, things like that, oxycodone, they're so addictive and they give people that happiness is because that's literally what the sun does to you. Except the sun provides it without giving you a crash. It's like it's a wave, it's a gentle wave that it's providing you, and it's helping you get up and on your feet. So winter, coldness, and darkness amplifies it. But the biggest amplitude to the problem isn't necessarily that it's winter. It's that now it's difficult to spend your entire day outside in the cold, which is what you should be doing. Because the outdoor light is magnitudes brighter, even on a dreary, cold, cloudy day, than inside your house. And the light, the way the light's hitting you, the way it's affecting you, is not the same as turning on your incandescent bulbs in the house or having a light panel on. It's not equivalent. And then there's a cold. So those opioid receptors that, um, it's called alpha MSH. is also triggered by temperatures below 46 degrees Fahrenheit. So when it's cold outside and your skin is getting exposed to the cold, you are also able to better deal with the emotional stressors and the lifing that's screwing up your emotional state and your emotional regulation. Cold therapy, cold exposure, being outside, a winter sun combined with cold is important to how we feel. And of course, it can be hard and we can fall off the bandwagon of if you're incorporating sunrises and you're struggling emotionally, you're probably going to drop the sunrise. You're probably going to forget about your habits and you're probably going to forget about your routines in some way, shape, or form, and you'll then pay the cost, like I have. And then eventually you're going to get off your ass and get back into those habits and you'll feel better. My podcast is going to be released probably in January. It's called The Decentralized Mind. And I actually had a conversation about this with Thomas P. Seeger, the founder of Roscoe Forge Ice Baths. We had a conversation about this, so I look forward to you all tuning into it in more detail. But my experience last winter was that when I'm doing cold therapy, I can feel the high, I can feel the happiness, I can be given an aid to deal with my problems and make them smaller, make them more manageable, and make them more possible. It has a greater impact than you think. So, if it's winter where you are, start with the sunrise and either get a cold bath in your home if you've never done it before, or start by dressing a little lighter, going outside in the middle of the day with less clothing on. Don't dress for the weather, dress a little under. I would actually start with the neck, skip the shawl. Wear your hat, wear your gloves, wear your warm socks, wear your warm boots, skip the shawl. If you can expose the back of your neck to the cold, you increase cold adaptation. And when I walk people through cold therapy, there's a specific order of temperature, exposure, and steps to take in order to do it safely. But the most important thing I will say, if you're going to attempt cold exposure for emotional regulation, is your VO2 max. If you have heart problems, have had heart surgery before, have high blood pressure, you need to know that your VO2 max is above the minimum before you start with cold immersion. And don't do the cold baths unless you know that they work for you. Because partial cold exposure is not the same as cold immersion, and it can be far more stressful. And it can have the opposite effect on your nervous system than cold immersion done right at the right temperature for the right length of time. The most time that you can spend outside in that brightness that is far brighter than your home is important and it's not to be discounted. It sounds unappealing. You don't want to go. You're like, I just want to be warm and cozy. But the only way out is through the cold in the winter or go on vacation. If that's an option for you, that's really great. And I want to take a moment to emphasize that what I'm referring to, the benefits that you're going to get from the sun when it comes to mood and the ability to deal with loss, emotional struggles, stressful psychological situations, is with unfettered sun exposure. If you're wearing sunglasses, you're going to disrupt that process. If you're covering up your skin with UV protective clothing, you're going to disrupt that process. If you're wearing sunscreen, you're going to disrupt that process. I'm not telling you to, if this is the first time you're hearing about this, you have no tan, you're white as a ghost. I'm not telling you to go from your indoor LED laden home to outside with no sunglasses, no sunscreen, and full skin exposed on a vacation to Dominican. That's going to be a recipe for disaster, obviously. You have to do it in the right dose, in the right way, slowly, gradually over time. However, it bears to be said that if you are using something to block the sun, you are going to block your endogenous opioid receptors and you're going to block the endogenous endorphin. You're going to block the high, you're going to block the happiness, and you're going to block the recovery. If you don't know how to do that safely and you have a specific situation that you have questions about, please just contact me. You can send me an email. You can find me on Instagram and send me a message, whatever it is. There's a way to do this, whether you're going down somewhere sunny, you live where it's hot, in Florida, California, Mexico, Panama, whatever. Or if you're in the cold, the northern hemisphere, and it's freezing cold, you haven't seen the sun in a week for more than 5 minutes at a time, you're spending almost your entire day indoors, and you haven't even started watching the sunrise, then definitely you want to address your lights in your home. You want to start watching the sunrise. And it really is that simple that it's time to get outside. If you have a buddy, a friend, family member, someone who can help you, take you there, push you there, buddy up with you to help you get over the hump, because at the beginning, you may not have the capacity, the motivation, the ability to actually get started with any habits. If you're dealing with especially strong or difficult emotional, psychological situations. But that's okay. Hopefully you can find somebody. If not, and you need a buddy, um, please reach out to me. Um, if you're looking for one-on-one help or group help or anything like that. Again, this is not the entire solution. We are 360 beings requiring 360 attention. But most of us don't consider the use of environment and light in situations to improve psychological struggles. And I think that we need to, because why should we fight uphill when we could slide downhill? So if you like this, please subscribe, like, tell me your thoughts, leave a comment. That's always super helpful. And hopefully you will tune in to my podcast when it releases in January. We'll see you next one.